Welcome to the forum at the RosellCitizen.com. I'm here with Dave Brown, our current borough administrator. Appreciate it.
No problem. Glad to be here.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes, yes.
So I finally got you here. First, I want to just get some things out. Let everybody know what's going on in the borough.
And that's important.
Yes, it is. So first, I just want to tell everybody every Saturday, the Rosell Family Success Center, located at 121 Chestnut Street, a great organization. You should stop by, see Priscilla. They have a walk fit every Saturday. It starts at 8:30. I believe they meet at in front of the building, and then they walk to Warren Park and actually do some fitness and training there, done by a gentleman named Zuki, a great guy, all free of charge. So that begins at 8:30. Go there with your family, your kids, and everything else. Also, the Rosell Citizen, we have a bike club, bicycle club. So we're trying to get that off the ground. We got a few people come from around town. It's really great. We ride around Warren or Rosell. Doesn't matter, depending on that morning. That meets. Majority of the time we meet at Borough Hall. But sometimes we'll meet at the ice skating rink in Warren Park. That's all depending. So that's every Saturday at 9 a.m. And everything is according, weather permitting. So if it starts raining, you want to be out there. There's a second ward meeting Ms. Turnich is having. That's at the Firehouse, August 16th at 7 p.m. If you have any more want to know any more details, just give her a call. There's also a Rosell Community Cookout. Supposed to be pretty big, done by the Rosell Collaborative, and that's going to be on August 20th at 11 on Chestnut Street, right here at Borough Hall. Hot dogs and whatever else is there, I guess. Just an old style cookout. We Rosell Citizen and everybody, we kind of encourage everybody to come out. Doesn't matter who you are, who you're with, just come on out, see your neighbors, have a good time with everyone. That's again on August 20th at 11 o'clock at Borough Hall. And Jamel Holly is also, for his Civic Association, is having a school supplies donation, where I believe he does this every year or something like that, and you can go and donate backpacks, school supplies, and that can be dropped off at the Firehouse up until September 6th. Again, that would be backpacks, school, pencils, I believe, notebooks, and stuff for the kids. I think it's good because it takes a burden off a lot of teachers who sometimes have to buy that stuff. So. That's again Jamel Holly's Civic Association. That's happening, and Wayne Bullock is having a gospel play. I think he's done or whatever it is. That's gonna be at Rosell Catholic on the 16th of September, and then I also want to let you know that Shawnee's, this new Caribbean cuisine restaurant, will be opening soon. So that'll be on the corner of Aldine and Amsterdam. Look for it. Supposed to be good things happening there, good food. So that's Shawnee's Caribbean Cuisine. That'll be open soon. I don't have a date, but I know it's very soon. So that's happening. And then I just also want to give reach out to Eves. To get well soon. He was at the council meeting via telephone, probably had his feet up on the couch, watching Jeopardy. But, get back, get well. We're all praying for you. So we hope to see you soon at the next council meeting, especially because you're my ward person. So, I got some issues. And also, one last thing is to congratulate the Rosell Running Rams basketball team who won championship a few weeks ago. So. Great. A lot of things going on. So I just want to reach out, get in. So if you have anything, all this can be, you go to Rosell, therosellcitizen.com, under events. It all is all listed there. If you have any events that you want everybody to know, get to know, just send them to events@therosellcitizen.com, and we'll post it for you. So that's done. Now, back into borough business.
Okay.
First, I want people to I mean, of course, people don't know who you are.
Okay.
I just want you to introduce yourself and let everybody know your role here at the borough.
Well, I'm David Brown, and I've been the borough administrator between the years of '05 and '07. I'm back. I'm happy to be back. I started back around March 1st of this year. My background includes a graduate master's degree and a bachelor's degree from Kane University, which brought me to this area. I was born and raised in Long Branch, New Jersey, which is where I reside. I'm coming into this community. I love this community. People were really there for me. I had a tragic event in my life that happened. My first wife passed away, and this community really came out for me. And I'm glad to be back here and working in Roselle. I think Roselle has a lot of potential. We have a lot of potential to go to the next level and get our departments, get our residents the services that they're looking for and deserve. And I think you have a lot of hardworking department heads here, a lot of hardworking employees that want to get things done right. We just have to be able to all sit down and work together and move on one accord in that direction and moving the borough forward in a positive manner.
What political office you running for? That's right.
No political offices for me.
Now that was good. I'll vote for you.
I'll stay right where I am.
Listen,
trust me.
We know, we got issues here in Roselle. I mean, along with other towns, boroughs, and everything else. I know you came into the thick of things. I mean, you're pretty much now the fall guy. I mean, stuff that's going to go on, it's not right, pretty much go ask Dave Brown.
Exactly. I like to look at it as the project manager.
Okay, good. One of the things I know we've had plenty of CFOs, acting CFOs, stuff like that. I mean, dealing with our financial department. You are now the acting CFO?
Yes, I'm also the acting CFO.
Okay, so you have now the task of just not running the day-to-day business of the borough. You're now also involved in trying to balance books,
yes,
borough books, pay bills, and stuff like that. Now, listen, we had auditors last night at the workshop. They came for 5-10 minutes, said their piece, and left. Okay, quickly, and this financial audit situation has been a thing that is politically motivated, is personally motivated. I don't want to get into that.
Exactly.
What I want just understand is where our finance was, where it is now, and what do you expect to do for our finances here in Roselle?
Okay. What we have on this current audit that they reported on last night is that we have approximately about 19 prior year recommendations. And those 19 prior year, without going back deep into the history, most of them go way back to early CFOs to today. We've had 13 new ones on this audit report that came up.
Okay, this current one.
This current one,
okay,
which are the ones that I'm mostly concerned with. And if you heard the auditor last night say there's two really important ones. There's the one where we must maintain an accurate record of all cash receipts collected. And that basically essentially tells you that each department, when they're collecting funds, has a cash receipt.
Okay.
And those books are issued out by the finance office, and we keep track of those books, and those books are turned back in. We just have to do a better job of managing those cash receipts. And a lot of the stuff that came in this audit were things that basically say, need to do it on a timely basis.
Right.
We're just late in doing things, and we have some internal controls that we really need to tighten up on.
So we got it's more of a process that hasn't been followed. I mean, what I'm saying is, if we're taking in cash, is it that we're not writing the receipt out?
Or no, we're writing it up, but maybe it was the book was misplaced for a day or two or something, and then we found it later or something like that.
Okay.
There's nothing to my knowledge of any illegal or anybody doing anything wrongdoing happening in the borough.
Right.
We just need to get better at what we do from a procedure and process standpoint.
So pretty much, I mean, it's not like they're going to be putting the gate, shutting down the borough or anything else.
No
like that.
state coming in and investigations. They haven't contacted me.
Right.
There's none of that going on. We just need to tighten our belts.
We need to get a qualified, someone dedicated in that office that's going to attack the issues that are at hand. And not just, also, I understand there's new 13, but if we're dealing with 19 issues that are still from prior years, then what that's saying is that we're not even attacking those. We're allowing that. They've been just carrying over
to year to year.
Right. So this has gone back plenty of years, gone back and back and back. And whoever the CFO was and back then, they didn't attack it. They didn't do
for whatever reason they had.
Okay. Now, are those, let's say, is the 19 that, and then we have the 13. So we're looking at 32 issues here. Is it doable to say that next audit we're looking at maybe only 3 or 4, or is it saying half is doable?
Now, I can answer that question accurately as soon as I complete the corrective action plan.
Okay.
But there's no way in the world we're going to knock all 32 out.
Right, okay.
Next year, it's not going to be an empty slate.
Okay.
There will be things on there, but I know there are things that won't be on there because one of the things that we haven't been doing for years, it was a prior year problem, was the general ledger.
Okay.
We activated the general ledger a few months ago. We're using the general ledger now.
So you weren't previously?
Yeah, but see, now, don't get it wrong, because some CFOs were doing their general ledger maybe on a spreadsheet. We're now using that general ledger in our software.
Okay.
In our accounting software.
But that's the way it should be.
Yes, that's the way they want to do it from an audit perspective.
Right.
Now,
right. Okay.
Does it mean you're not keeping good books because you were keeping it on a spreadsheet on the side? No.
Okay.
But you're not keeping in standards with how we're audited and how the state of New Jersey would like to see us do it.
Okay.
That's all.
All right.
And that's why I just want to clear those things up, because I don't want people to think that we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. Somebody might have been doing it a little bit differently. It's just not doing it in the way the state of New Jersey says we should do.
Well, true, but we also, one of the things that we get as a resident too is that there's always a smoothing out of the actual situation that's going on. And what I'm saying about that is that the finance office was in disarray.
And I'll tell you right now, I don't smooth out nothing. Our biggest problem in the finance office, which we turned around in the last 2 months, was we weren't paying bills.
Okay.
It was evident. People felt it all around the borough, including our employees. We had vendors saying that if you're not paying the bills, we're not servicing you. It trickled down. Employees couldn't get their jobs done. Services weren't getting out to residents. Services were getting cut off, etc. So there's, I'm not here to hide.
No, right, and that's why you're here. No, and I understand that, and I believe that, like anything else, it's funny, you can go and tell your child, listen, just tell me the bad news, just tell me. But when it comes to here, it's almost as though no one wants to tell you the bad news. They would rather just more smooth it out. Say, listen, tell me that if the finance office was a problem, messed up, then that's fine. Let's at least have a way of that we're going to approach it to fix it.
Exactly.
And to bring that up is that you now have to do, which I believe you're doing now, is the corrective action plan.
Yes.
Can you just explain what that is?
Well, the corrective action plan is the second piece to the audit.
Right.
The auditors come in and say, here's our recommendations, 32. Now I'll have 32 corrective actions, which will be the plan to say how we're going to correct those 32 deficiencies, basically.
Okay.
So, and then when that comes out, we can have another discussion.
Right, and so when do you expect to have that corrective action plan?
Probably in the next 30 days or so.
Okay.
I'd like to get it to, if I can't get it to the September meeting, definitely by the October meeting.
Right, okay. And so, pretty much, I guess, that pretty much will be, on you.
Yes.
That's
as
once you sign your name on it.
In both my roles, the administrator would help out the CFO, but it would primarily be in the CFO's hands to come up with those corrective actions.
Okay. And then,
now, mind you, we're still in a search for a CFO too.
Okay. Now, and do we have any candidates, or
we've been speaking to a few, but we just haven't gotten the right salary. We haven't gotten the right hours dedicated that we feel that need to be dedicated. and we had a great candidate that at the last minute couldn't do it for other personal reasons at the last minute.
Now, are you looking for a full-time CFO?
Right now, we're looking for a part-time CFO.
Okay.
In the state of New Jersey, we have a serious shortage of licensed CFO. And that problem exists. You have CFOs all around the state that are holding 2 or 3 jobs. They're full-time in one town, part-time in this town.
Right. I see.
We had about 6 or 7 candidates come forth. And after the interviews shaking out, only about 3 of them really were viable. And then out of those 3, the one that we really wanted ended up backing out.
Okay.
But it's almost as a process of I have to be out there, and every time I go to a networking meeting or to a class or something, I'm always out there trying to see who's looking, who needs a part, So that's why we kind of took it from a part-time perspective, and from a budgetary perspective too. We took it from a part-time. That doesn't mean that I won't recommend later on that perhaps maybe after we get a part-timer in, or if we can't, maybe we change our decision and go back to a full-time CFO.
But if you do bring in a part-time, does that still mean that they will take over the duties of the CFO job completely, or are you still now part of the CFO? That whole, I I understand, you're borough manager. You're pretty much over everything that goes on in the borough itself. But if we do bring in a part-time CFO, does that now pull you out of there?
Oh yeah, it pulls me out greatly and allows me to really do what I'm operating and working with the department heads on a day-to-day, and actually coming up, because one of the ththings I want to come up with as a borough administrator is I want to come up with a strategic plan for the entire borough.
Okay.
So you got a corrective action plan to fix these deficiencies, but we need a strategic plan in the borough that will outline every area of the borough, from public works to redevelopment to finance to the building department, code enforcement. We need to make sure that we have a solid plan out there, and everybody on the borough, from the mayor to the governing body to the administration and department, all are following in step.
Okay. That, and also too, even talking about part-time people, we have a new purchasing agent. That's a shared service?
That's a shared service. It's being touted by the county as one of the ways of doing shared services in the county. We actually hired a purchasing agent, a qualified purchasing agent, and she comes in. She's here almost every day, and we're not paying health benefits. We're not paying any of those type of costs. We just have the one other expense to the city of Linden to have those services performed. And she has a second person in her office who's assistant director of purchasing, and he's also a QPA.
Okay.
And he too is involved with us and is here. He was at our meeting last night as well.
Is that going to now help the situation of us when we were not paying bills? Is it the question of, let me ask you this though, was it the question of not paying bills because we didn't have the funds? Or is it just that we just weren't paying bills?
You know what, for lack of any better answer, we just weren't paying bills.
Okay. So now
the funds are there.
Right. The funds were there.
The borough's solvent.
Yeah. But just on a sidebar though, the council was getting paid on time.
Well, that's payroll now.
Okay, so that's different from that. Okay.
2 different functions.
Okay.
Payroll is something that's processed every 2 weeks. Our payroll coordinator handles that. That goes through. People have direct deposit or they get a hand check.
Right.
That doesn't go.
So payroll was tight.
Payroll doesn't go to the council meeting for a bill list and everything.
Right. Okay.
The bill list comes. That's where we're paying all our vendors. That's where we're paying the people. We have different communities that we owe money that have associations.
Right.
And by law, they're private communities, and we have to pay them for their services that they're doing, like garbage pickup and things like that. All of those people, they sit back and they wait for those checks, and it hurts. It hurts what they're doing.
Right.
It hurts the business. It hurts the community. So it was one of the first things that.
With that is that since there's some vendors that since we didn't pay bills, we're on pretty much some of a cash-based system where
that could have been. That could have been, but
okay.
that should not be happening right now. Currently.
Okay. So right now we're pretty much trying. We got at least one wheel on the track.
We're solvent.
Okay.
We're on time paying our bills.
Okay. All right. Well, let's. All right. I want to move into also the TV 34 situation.
Okay.
We've been for a while now without TV 34. If you ask me, my opinion is that this is a situation that is moving too slow. A lot of people a lot of residents, especially our seniors, are dependent upon TV 34 for their information. There's plenty of people, as many people might not know, that do not have internet, do not have computers, cannot afford them, cannot get up to the library, anywhere else. So their TV is their way of knowing what's going on in the borough. I can understand, we put together the website, which I congratulate the borough on, the council on getting that up and going, because it's very informative. There's a lot of things on there, but the problem is there's some people still left out. And there's two problems. I just want you to talk about that. When TV 34 was up, it was only on Comcast, which I never had Comcast, which left everybody else out who doesn't have Comcast. Okay. And now I understand that there's some options going on now that's happening. So I just want you to speak on what's happening with TV 34, what we might be looking, as much as you might know, and when are we going to actually start getting something up there?
Well, in regards to TV 34, if individuals, residents think it's moving slow, it is moving slow. And it's on me because it's moving slow, because I'm doing my homework, I'm doing my research to figure out what exactly we need. We have infrastructure problems, which include costs for equipment, the installation. We need to have an ongoing maintenance and support service in place. We're trying to figure out do we get one company to do that. We're trying to figure out which equipment do we actually need to bring in there and replace. All the equipment is old, it's antiquated. We've just had the two DVD players break down. So a DVD player costs $60. Exactly, but just putting that in doesn't solve the answer, because the rest of the equipment is not working either.
Well, have you reached out to the towns that actually have this running?
That's what we've done.
And I know, because myself, I've even went to Roselle Park. And
that's what we've done.
Okay.
We so far we've hit Linden, a couple other cities, Edison, to figure out what they're doing, how they're doing, and that's what's taking so long, because fortunately, I'm the BA, I'm the CFO, I'm trying to do this. Right. So if there's a slowness, it's all on me, because I'm handling a lot of different projects right now, and I'm trying to move in the best manner.
I can understand that you want to carry that on your shoulders a bit, but really that issue's been buried compared to everything else that's going on. We have a redevelopment project that is being pushed through quickly, that is people have been coming in to go, and we need this, we need that, we need this. And when you're talking about that, a project that has come up and quickly, let's get it on, let's break ground. When we're talking about a system TV 34, we're now still looking at the issue.
Well, I can tell you this, that's a governing body movement. I can guarantee you, when I get everything up to speed and a plan that I feel that we can really move forward with, I will be pushing to put it on the fast track too.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But right now we're still getting our thoughts together. We brought people into the Communication and Technology Committee to kind of explain some things to us, and we're getting there. And as you can see, we're etching out a plan here now. I got at least an outline going, and then we got to take a look and find the money appropriately to purchase all this equipment.
Okay. But, there's always that four-letter word. I guess they love.
Bonds.
They love that. And we're not talking about James Bond.
I'm trying not to do that.
Yeah, well, but this is what I'm saying is that we understand your role, that and you're very thorough in what needs to be done. But when we're looking at Roselle, when the residents are looking at what's going on, and we're bonding for monies for computers, we're bonding for monies, for the roads, we're pulling money for, phones and all that. It doesn't seem like TV 34 is on that list, and it seems, and talking from the outside looking in, what I'm talking about as a resident looking into I don't see what you're doing every day,
Sure.
But it's not being talked about. And it's an issue that we're going from council meeting from month to month to month, and this issue goes back to the beginning of the year.
Okay.
So, and you came in, I believe, on this situation, on the TV 34 situation.
Oh, yeah.
So, I understand that you have a job to do and you're doing it, but again, it's a situation that is being buried from the residents' point of view, and it's not being. We talked about and I want to get into the computer situation. We've talked about that. We talked about the computers. We talked about the website. Oh, the website, this and that. But we still aren't talking about TV 34. And we, the residents, have to bring it up. When we go to the workshops of council, and we don't ask those questions, those aren't being brought to us. And when it gets to the communication, let me just ask you this. What about the Roselle Roundup, the newsletter that we used to have for the borough? Do you know anything about that?
For I know that's being worked on. They're doing stories and pulling articles together.
Okay, but that issue, hold on, Dave, that issue was brought up when everybody was running for election. Mm-hmm. There was at one of the council meetings or workshop, whatever, Mr. Holly brought it up and then the mayor, and they had this little going back and forth that they were able to even, it was going to get redesigned. It was going for this now big magazine edition, larger and everything else. Mm-hmm. Mr. Holly had put that on the table, getting businesses to buy ads and all this other stuff. That was supposed to happen when the elections were happening. He had brought that up on the election. It seems like after that, it died. And nothing has happened.
Well, I can assure you the Roselle Roundup nor TV 34 has died. But what the best thing I can do at this point is to, one, I can include updates in my report from the Borough Administrative Report. I can include updates on that. And I will recommend to the governing body, because they have the Communication Technology Committee, and as you know, as the mayor goes around and asks for committee reports, they usually do a pretty good job at that. I'll just ask them to include these two things in there so that the people can keep abreast on what's going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's true. It is something that needs to be. I mean, if you want to calm the waters and whatever, I mean, it's better that we know where the process is. Even though the process is taking a considerable amount of time. This is a long process for a TV 34. I don't care what anybody says, but it's a long process. I think we're better off if we can understand and know that where you're at, whether, if you're looking and stuff, because then we know that at least something is going on.
Yeah.
Not assuming that something
I can only
goes on.
tell you we're coming to a close, and in the near future, we're going to have this resolved.
Right. Well,
and like I said, we just got to pick the vendor. We need to get the money, but you know how government works.
Right.
Things resolution has to go to the meeting, and all this stuff has to happen. Bill lists have to be approved. So there's a process. But once we get it in the hopper, it'll be on the fast track.
Okay. All right. We're gonna hold you to that.
Okay. That's fine.
So, computers situation, and this is something that I'm not understanding. This whole last night, of course, I know you in the last week you've run into a computer issue.
Yes.
Understanding the Communication Technology Committee they had gotten to a company called United Technologies in here to put in new computers, upgrade the system. I would like you to talk about that a little bit. What happened with the computers, first of all, because I know it went down.
Came out recently.
Recently,
okay.
The current recent. And where are we with the upgrading and the technology part of that in the borough? I know, again, last night there was supposed to be 3 phases, and we're on the first phase. I mean, listen, it was confusing because Ms. Danjo was speaking, and Mr. Holly was speaking, the mayor speaking. Everybody's trying to, tell us. So just try to explain a little bit what's going on with the computer situation.
basically, the borough has servers, and one of our servers, and I'm not sure exactly. I think we have about 4, but the one where the motherboard last week went bad on was an old server. That old server, the motherboard fried out. Once that happened, the very next day we did an immediate over to FedEx. We got the motherboard in. The United Computers came in with a technician. He installed it. He put it in. Then there were some data issues with the old server now from the motherboard going down. Now, I'm not a total IT person, so I'm just giving it to you in layman terms. After that happened, we began to have issues with some of our software that we use. For instance, finance had problems with Munidex. We can't do any purchase orders, cut any checks without having that software run. They did a whole operational test. They came up with a game plan. If they couldn't get it by the end of Thursday, the old server working properly with the software issues we were having, they then would have to move all that software housed on that old server to the new server that was previously brought prior to me coming here on March 1st. So I'm not sure when that was purchased, but more towards the beginning of this calendar year. At that point, they came in Friday with about 3 or 4 technicians. They had to go from desktop to desktop and do whatever they had to do and get us back up and running. At that point, we had about 80% of the borough up and running. Workers were able to do things. We had some problems in the building department. We had some problems in our finance and the payroll area. And we had some problems with the clerk's office, to my knowledge. Those issues were all being resolved as of this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And even the clerk might even be getting worked on today. The gentleman's in the building today. We saw him as we were coming down. So he's resolving out those problems. Now, ironically, as this is happening, we had a bid go out, an RFP go out for the services to complete phases 2 and 3 of the project that was outlined by United Computer on that phase 1, 2, and 3. Phase 2 and 3 basically is going to consolidate these 4 servers into maybe 1 or 2 good new working servers with new motherboards and new everything.
Okay, so we're not even at phase 2
we're
yet.
we're not there.
Of course, when the RFPs went out, United Computers on one of them.
Yeah, we had two vendors came back.
Okay, so which pretty much it'll be them servicing.
No, I cannot guarantee you that. I cannot guarantee you that.
Okay.
There has to be a review of it. There has to go to the governing body committee, communications technology. Purchasing agent is reviewing it.
Okay.
She has to give a recommendation, as well as I as the borough administrator, and then we'll take it from there.
Are we still, with the money that was allocated for these computers, are we still on track to stay within that money that was allocated?
Absolutely.
Okay. Are we now paying us? With all these technicians running up in here, fixing this, buying this.
That's part of their service contract.
Okay.
Number one, and number two, we probably paid, I think it was like $300 or $400 to get the emergency motherboard situation taken care of, because we actually had to buy the motherboard. We had to pay for the FedEx, and then there was some labor costs in there, I believe.
Okay, so pretty much we're still on the same path as we were before.
Yes, absolutely.
Bringing the phase 1 to fruition, and then going to 2, then to 3.
Yeah.
And so, we're not looking at all of a sudden bonding out for another so amount of money because.
No, we did that already.
Okay.
We did that already.
All right. So.
And that's what we're trying to do with TV34. You had your assessment and your plan for your computers and getting the network running properly. That's what we're doing with TV34, and unfortunately, that's why it's taking so long.
Okay. All right. Well, listen. I mean, I don't want, technology upgrade is a good thing. I don't want, it's something that we've needed for a long time. Of course, I mean, if you ask the communication technology committee, they'll tell you. They'll give you a whole story how long we've been going on without it.
Okay.
So, but what we can afford is something that was been proposed before, and now we're into a situation where we got to now bring in new stuff and new equipment, and we didn't know about that and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure that we're still on budget for what we wanted, what we asked for, and that's being, with all these technicians running up in here, that things are getting done and moving forward.
We're on budget, on schedule. We just had the emergency situation last week.
Okay.
It was a minor setback.
Good. Well, we're running short of time.
Okay.
But one of the things I just wanted to quickly touch on is redevelopment.
Okay.
We have this project going on, St. George development project going on. That's happening in the second ward. But we've talked about this before, that the borough itself has umpteen amount of properties that they own.
Yes.
There's a lot of borough lots here, a lot of properties that the borough owns.
Yes.
What, we don't, at least I don't see, is that we actively go out and pursue developers. It almost seems as though when a developer comes in and, he wants to, now we jump on it, and then we pretty much tell everything to them. Are we actively,
not true.
And this is where I'm asking you
Okay.
this, are we actively pursuing people, trying to bring developers into this borough, and are we actively trying to do something or going to do something with all of these lots that the borough owns?
Yes. With the St. George, for instance, we went out with an RFP. We only got 2 developers that came back, and they came to our last meeting back in July, and they did a presentation in front of the governing body. I wasn't here, so I don't know if it was public also, but that's what we're doing. We are actively looking for developers to come in. And as you know, in this economy, in this real estate market, it's tough to get some developers to come in, but we were thankful that we had the 2 to come in and have somebody to choose from to come in and develop that area.
Yeah, but okay, and I understand that that's for the St. George. Are we still? Does the borough now? That's because that development project came up, and that was because I know, by the way, church was involved in this. It's some of their property and some of borough property. But today, are we even actively trying to get developers to even develop on other properties here?
We're not actively engaged yet. We're having conversations, as you know, we talked about let me qualify this first. There are lots that are adjacent to residential homes, which are, by our zoning laws, that are unbuildable. And developers are not going to want those lots unless they can put a lot of them together. But normally they're sticking between a couple of the residents' houses. Right. So the idea that sprung up was that we take those lots, and by law we can sell those lots to the adjacent owners. So if you live next to one of these lots, which are probably, from our perspective, we got to send DPW out there to cut the grass.
Right.
We got to shovel the sidewalk in the wintertime. The person next door probably calling my number saying, "Hey, you forgot, grass is a little high." This works out into the borough's benefit. It works out to the homeowner's benefit. And we want to sell them at a reasonable rate, whatever the appraisal comes out to be, and then whatever adjacent homeowner would want them, that would be one game plan. Then we have other properties like Chet and John's, and we have bigger lots that we really need to put a game plan behind. Now, they're not in a redevelopment area.
Right.
So the focus right now with the governing bodies in the redevelopment areas. We got the golf course going, we got St. George. So what has to happen is, once we can get focus and attention on these other lots, what we need to do is hire our borough engineer and architects to come together, and the attorneys, and put together an RFP and plan and figure out what do we want on those sites.
Right.
And then put it out to the world and say, we have these buildable sites, who wants to come in and help build this up and put something here that's positive and productive for the community.
But those lots currently, too, even now, if I wanted to purchase one of those lots, pretty much
Yes.
I can just come up to your office and talk to you
Absolutely,
about it.
and we've had that happen.
Yeah.
We've had a church in town wanted to buy a lot so they could use it for parking.
Right. That wasn't in a redevelopment area.
Exactly. They came up, but we can't just give it to them.
Right.
We put it out to bid. We do the appraisal, whatever the low. Then we put that out. That's the minimum bid, and then they come back in,
The highest bidder.
and the highest bidder wins the property.
Okay.
And
So-
something like that, we would do. I'll do that on a case by case basis,
Right.
because what happens is now that property's now into their hands. In this case, it's a church, so I'm not sure if it's actually taxable.
Yeah.
But
Right,
we don't have,
but
we don't
they're
have the
responsible.
maintenance.
They're responsible.
Exactly, they're handling the maintenance,
Okay.
so that's still taking burden off of the borough.
Right.
So however you look at it, it's a better situation for us anyway, and they're improving the property too, because I understand they're supposed to be paving it and doing some other things and making it look really nice.
Okay. All right. Well, listen. This was good.
Okay.
I'm glad you could make
Likewise.
time. Hopefully, we could do this, every so often, so that you can let everybody know what's
You have
going
my
on.
commitment to that.
Yeah, good, and we're here to make you feel at home. So
Okay.
next
I do
time,
feel
next
at
time
home,
you
yeah.
come in shorts and a t-shirt if you
Okay.
want. So,
All right, okay.
but again, Dave,
Okay.
appreciate your
Thanks,
time,
Mark.
man.
I appreciate it.
I know you got 2-3 hats to wear, so I'm gonna let you get
Yeah.
back.
Okay.
All right.
I look forward to your co-host being here next
Yeah,
time.
right, Rock. See what
Yeah,
you're missing.
yeah.
So and good. I'm glad.
Okay.
And, appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.